Well. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a beautiful day out here, a little bit on the hot side, but just great. I hope your weekend was as good as mine, or even better, hopefully. You didn't get bogged down with all the happening around the world, but hopefully you had a great bottle of wine with friends, maybe two, and enjoy this wonderful beginning. August is a special month because that's pretty much uh, we measure all the vacations in Italy. August 15 it's Ferragosto. That means that the highest of August, so everybody goes in vacation. Although I have a feeling that this year nobody's going to go anywhere because they've been home for the last 4 months. I know it's not funny, but it is funny because I'm from Italy, so I see funny in everything. So I'm sorry. I have to have a good sense of humor, otherwise we go crazy. Yeah, so I don't know. Nobody's going to go on vacation because they're already in vacation, so they're probably going to go down the street um, and just hanging out and talk about the vacation they will get next year. So actually, this year, I take a group of people with me, a gourmet group. We go to one region of Italy every year to really immerse our guests into what we call a true Italian experience. We want to make sure that they enjoy in a most wonderful and personal way because sometimes you go to Italy and it's beautiful because let's what I mean, you go and see the beautiful tourist spot, which honestly they're not overrated. They're wonderful. I mean, you go to Venice with a gondola, even if you do the things that all the tourists do. On the end, you're gonna come home with a wonderful experience. But sometimes after you've done your typical tourist traps and as much as in fun they are, you want something more. So we provided a extra, that wonderful experience that is personal. It's one that I would get because I'm Italian. So I will get when I go to Italy, when I visit the winery or visit the restaurants. There is a different level of a communication. So therefore, there's also an understanding. So people put their best behavior. Not that they won't do it for you, but I think in some cases, private wineries are private dining and so far. So we were going to Sardinia this year. Year past we were in the market, which, by the way, we had a wonderful, wonderful experience on some of the local wineries as well as some of the simple and great, great restaurants, as well as a couple star Michelin restaurants, which the owner was fantastic. One of the thing about star Michelin, you got to be really careful because sometimes it's a lot of hypes and not necessarily you're going to deliver some amazing stuff. Maybe one or two dishes interesting, and after that gets kind of boring. Too much overwork for, especially in a country like Italy, where the food, the simplicity, the farm to table experience is so amazing, and every region is so different, so unique. So you want to make sure that they don't overdo it, where you go so far out there where it's not interesting anymore, or you feel like, okay, but I can get this. Let's be honest, almost anywhere in the world where chef wants to do something like that. So the other things that you do when you go to Italy, of course, you want to have as a more personal possible, because Italians are very gentle, very kind, and forceful at the same time. But they're so proud, especially when you find those little small niche of uniqueness. And a lot of our guests in America, they're being exposed a little bit through the slow food movement. But generally speaking, they find those experiences when they go home and visit some some relatives of their parents, because a lot of the second, third generations, and they really trying to focus on some of the lost experience that maybe their great grandparents or their parents used to talk about it, like a simple thing like barlotti beans, unique chickpeas, a special fish like in the water of Sicily. Sometimes you get the spada, which is a swordfish, but it really is amazing. It's not quite the same. Even the white tuna, it's not quite the same sizes are different, the way they prepare much more immediate, much more simple, and then there is all the influx of the local experience, which it makes quite unique in itself. So it makes it to want to walk to those places and going to those places. It's not the same that you order a swordfish from Tahiti and then you throw them on a grill and put a picada sauce. There is a local experience that goes along with that. So to me, one of the most important thing is sometimes you find the greatest and the most surprising of all experiences when you least expect it, and that can happen anywhere. I mean, obviously, it's more special or more unique when you travel abroad because there's a language barriers. Like if you go to France, you go to Spain. I'm lucky enough because I went to the Italian Institute, Hotel Institute, so I have a foreign language in the background, whether some more proliferate than others. But, we study Spanish, Germans, English, and French. Of course, Italian and dialect. It's a little simpler for me. But in many instances, even myself, sometimes I walk into a special place and I realize that they have certain unique things that I haven't seen it for a while as a chef, and I get very excited about it. But that happens to me actually here in the United States and this past weekend. My girlfriend, Susan, is a wonderful daughter that lives she went to school, and of course, one of the things she loves is environmental experience and farm to table. She went to work for a company that is kind of on a growth level right now. Is going very well. It's called Belcampo. They are focused on local meats, beef, lamb, pork, chickens, and they are actually base camp nearby Mount Shasta, California, on the Oregon border. Very, very interesting place, actually. When you think about the high elevation, you would typically think alpine and big meadows. It's really not. It's a very unique valley. It's in a Gazette area, Gazette Valley, or it's a high desert. This is really interesting, the contradictions, because you see this nice valley and then this mountain range and this overwhelming, beautiful Mount Shasta, with a little bit of a snow cap. So it kind of makes it a little more sexy. And all that experience is quite unique because, we live in California and we rarely enjoy the unique, diverse landscape of our region. It is a very big area, California, from San Diego to Ensenada, all the way to up onto the Oregon border. There is a lot of different view, a lot of different scenery that it captures the imagination. And sometimes it's kind of like rough and tumbles and not a lot of finesse to it, which is okay. It's part of the landscape and the human experience, which we always trying to unveil. But California pretty much has written this history about the wine country. We have a fantastic wine country. Of course, everybody will jump on me right away on my back and start screaming Napa, Napa, Napa. Actually, it's not true. We have fantastic pocket in California of a very unique area. And I know some people, they have these big legions. They kind of jump in a corner. They're a big Cabernet lover. And now, after so many years, actually, I tasted the first Pinot Noir in 1984 up Bellevue, BV, up in Napa Valley. And at the time, they were serving over 45 varietals. It took us 2.5 to 3 hours just to go through some of the tasting. And there's some really unique wine, Gamay, some Semillon, some unique grapes that they rarely they make it anymore. They basically gone. It used to be, Traminers, Bianco, Muscat, Bianco. And then, of course, it was Pinot because George de la Tour was a Pinot maker. And he intended to grow Pinot, but then he realized that in Napa Valley, the valley floor was too hot. It was a volcanic soil, so it really was more vocated to a bigger, thicker skin. So, of course, Cabernet became one of them, of the many grapes, and then eventually it became the grapes that was found. But when you pass the area north of Sonoma, you start seeing the prevalence towards Pinot Noir. And of course, I have a great friend of mine, Matt, lives in Philo Anderson Valley, which I think is they are right now producing some of the most ethereal, elegant, and very, very competitive with the Oregon type of Pinot, uh, the more elegant Pinot, if you will. And I know sometimes people try to jump on the bandwagon or Burgundy. I think Burgundy is just it's just a totally different wine. It's not the same. And to me, I mentioned it many times to producers. That comparison is really doesn't do any justice to the California Pinot because unlike a Burgundy, which is incredibly unique and most international known wine in the world, but it's one area and it's very symbolic of the area. Whether you Côte d'Or, Côte Nuit, there is hundreds of years of experience. So therefore, there is a certain sense of tradition that has embedded in the drinking and making of the wine. So if you think it's Chambol, you think it's Chambol. You're not going to compare that one, with a different type because you're already expecting certain things. There's a certain expectation is building into the Burgundy, French Burgundy. And so when we talk about California or even Oregon, we are talking about totally different beast. We are talking about a landscape of diversity from Santa Rita Hills to the islands to way up north in Mendocino, Russian River, and Sonoma Coast is becoming a big deal. And all that, you tumble in it, and then you start traveling across, and you see this unique landscape. Sometimes what the winemaker's talking about or the wine vendors talking about doesn't match the reality. One of the nicest wine, one of the nicest, most elegant Pinot Noir I ever drank. It wasn't neither from any of those area, believe it or not. And so for me, it's really touch and feel. You gotta have here in California, Oregon, you have to Washington State, you have to have the sensibility to walk through the wines, taste the wines, really become acquainted with the winemaking process, but more importantly with the wine because there is such a unique diversity in style. There is not uniform in style. It's unlike some of the old country, which that's what they try to do. They're trying to have the unique terroir, but then within the unique terroir, there's a sense of high level of expectations, or there is the village kind of understanding where it's just beautiful wine, you know it's well made, you can drink it all the time, on and on and on. Here is a little bit different because a lot of those things are undefined. Winemakers, wine owners, vineyards owners, they decide which road they want to take and they basically look at them, and that's our mentality. This is America. We love that. We love that rugged kind of do-yourself, make your own stamp, create your own world, which I love it. I appreciate it. I never find myself justifying a wine or winemaking to anyone to compare with someone else. I really don't. I find that's sometimes it's kind of waste of time. Anyway, going back to my trip, which actually was a really beautiful. I had a wonderful time. Belcampo is a quite unique facility, way up there in the valley, and if you look around the map, it's hard to find. But it's in Gazelle, California, which is basically about 70 people. So you sneeze and you lose. What's really interesting is all the area. It's not a country. It's actually ranch. It's a ranch development mentality where basically they have the livestock, sheep mostly, some, of course, a lot of cow. And so from there, they created this unique environment for people to go up there and experience basically the process of localism, natural, self-reliant, and also sustainable. So Madeline runs the farm project, which is really beautiful. She's doing such a great job. I'm very proud of the excitement and the uniqueness that she's involved. Young girls, young ladies, actually, graduated from USF and have this wonderful passion for something that we in California and chefs in general really love and respect, because this is our bloodline. This is our lifeline for when we're talking about farm to table. Sometime it gets really big in the weeds for consumer. I like expand a little more. I like expand a little wider lens when we're talking about those things, because not everything has to be really restrictive. There are certain varietals that don't do well in certain area, and California is a big region, so it's not like we're in Campania, which with 25-30 minutes you're everywhere. You basically are 12 hours, 14 hours drive. So it is local because it's in California, but it's 14 hours away. So if you listen to some of those people, those guru and the people that want to just wear a medal, obviously that's kind of a little bit out of the local. I don't think so. I think when you raise a beautiful lamb up there, or when you raise a beautiful cow up there, it's as local as they come. Even vegetables, we can get it with transportation really within within the day in the marketplace. That's pretty fresh. I mean, if you think about it, most of the produce out there in your regular market, whether it will be Vons or Costco or any other supply side, they usually spend the 3 days just in the stock room to try inventory and get the labels, and then before that they get them into the market. So, when you're talking about 1-2 days transportation, we're not talking about something out of the planet. So we have to respect those availability as well as the quality. More importantly to me, actually, is that we're doing something about it in a way that is educational. It's fun. It's enjoyable, because you can visit, whether you stay at the property facility or you just rent something locally, which is pretty inexpensive. The whole area, not a lot of choice, obviously, but there is plenty of choice for people to stay. And beautiful lakeside. We went to this Castle Lake, which is right above Shasta. It was just beautiful. Very alpine-like, but California kind. So it's really unique because it's excitable. And people can enjoy of all type. So if you like walking, if you like swimming, it's all there. Now you're saying, where are you going with all this? You sound like a travel agency. What about the wine? I'm getting it. So obviously we were not playing on wine. We were playing on cattle and steaks and pork and sausages and vegetables. That's what we were there for. So not everything in your life has to be about wine, but unfortunately for you guys, it will be a wine. So we're going to go back to the story. And the story is this. We went to Ashland, Oregon, and asked a couple people around. They are, obviously South Oregon. They are wineries. And one of our friends actually was the CEO and general manager of the meat program. We had a nice evening. I cooked some beautiful ragu of lamb and beef with the nice pasta, and we threw some beautiful Walla Walla onions on the grill, charred it with a little balsamic and a nice little fig crostini with onions on top. Then we did a nice little crostini bruschetta on the grill, and fresh tomatoes from the garden. We went to pick them. It's just amazing. So we were talking about wines and what's going on up here, and they say, there's a really great winery that we went, and they're a friend of ours, and the product's really good. Of course, the focus is Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. So great, I'm game. I love to visit, because somebody has given us some of the names, and he goes, no, this is really good. So a fascinating story is that sometimes you walk into something with no expectation, which is the best things to do, okay? And then when you come out of there, you find out that these people, you actually know them, and they are friends, and people that they're much closer to you than you expected to. So anyway, we drove to Ashland, nice little town. It's got a nice little center. So we drive into this Rogue Valley, which, look more of a mix in between little planet, little desert, and then all of a sudden it's got this beautiful rolling hills with you can tell humans are the one who makes it green than anybody else, because it's the nature there is a little bit harsher. Um, and we had up to the valley, and finally we got to the Irvine and Roberts winery. Very pleasant, absolutely wonderful, very clean, contemporary style building. Um, so we walk in, great receptions, of course, the social distancing, the mask, the whole things. And we respect people. Obviously, we're going to stay focused. We're going to make sure that everybody's healthy. And so we asked to sit outside. It was just a gorgeous day, beautiful. 70, 74, 75 degrees with a little breeze, just beautiful, overlooking the vineyards. And you could tell the vineyard sites. Obviously, I'm a trainee, so this is what I do. I'm a farmer first and winemaker later. But the first thing I always ask to myself is why they're here. What's the point? Or wow, amazing. And so I'm looking on the landscape, and you could tell there was a lot of human input into this landscape, and they were doing a great job. I mean, the vineyards are very healthy, looking good, and so on. So a young lady came, who shows us the menus. They have a wonderful choice. So they have some appetizer, some charcuterie, and then of course their wines. Like I said, they basically focus on Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, which they should. And so we start talking, and obviously I always ask a couple questions. They are really focused on something important to me, because you can spend all day talking with winemakers and wine producers, and so you never really find out anything if they don't want it to. So the best things to do is just to have a couple questions to understand whether this is basically a vineyard site that was born out of a desire, or it was born as a natural. This is what it is. And so one of the questions you always ask is what kind of yeast you use. It's a natural yeast from the vineyards. You use fermenters. Because if it's a natural yeast, then that means that they want to really focus on the uniqueness of the area. If it doesn't, that means it was really about making certain wine style rather than everything else. Anyway, it was cute because the young lady went back and called someone a little more experienced. She was obviously a little bit uncomfortable, but nothing out of the ordinary. She was very graceful, and we enjoyed it very much. And she did the right thing, because she don't know. If you don't know, you don't know. That's the best things to do, is just to go ask somebody who does. So that way the relationship is straightforward, and nobody is out there to try to tell anything differently. And so this young lady came, so she goes, "Oh, I heard you asking something," and I never mentioned the fact that I'm either a chef or I'm a wine person or whatever. I just try to have a conversation and enjoy my afternoon. I'm not there to inquire, neither I'm there to interview. So for me, it's just a fun little outing with my girlfriends and her daughter, and enjoy the day. So she gave us a nice little rendition about the winemaker, and while they try to do it clearly, the winemaker has a lot input to what he wants to make. So he's after certain styles. So obviously use fermenters and so on and so on. And so while we're talking, we're tasting the wine, and actually the first Chardonnay was quite interesting. I would prefer they done completely stainless steel, to be honest with you. The little passage in the hook it wasn't bad. It was good. It wasn't helping anything. In fact, if it's anything, I think because up there's a little cooler, higher elevation. I personally enjoyed the first approach of the nice acidity, a very good mouthfeel, refreshing, less body full, and a little more easy to the palate. And then you get a little notes of a bitter, little undertone of vanilla, not necessary, but it's okay. It wasn't nothing that disturbed me. I was just thought to myself, if they let it go, if the winemaker let it go, probably a stainless steel completely would have been just so refreshing and beautiful. So the next one was a little more, you could tell it was done with the batonnage. It was a little bit oak barrel fermented, and so on and so forth. And then we start talking, and the young lady mentioned to us that the Roberts was from. Goes, "Oh, you guys are from Orange County." So you kind of get into this. We don't get usually those questions, so It's very interesting. Are you guys in the wine business? So of course I mentioned it, that I was. And they say, "Oh, where you from?" So we Orange County, or Notre down in Orange County in Costa Mesa. And he says, "Oh, the owner are from OC. It's from Southern California." So really, some of your friends ask us, says, "Oh, that maybe is Robert so and so and so." Anyway, this gentleman come over, is the owner. Of course, he's from Orange County, and that's where the good surprise came in. Okay, now we're gonna get into the juice. So we start talking a little bit about it. They find out that the sister is a big, wonderful human beings who wealthy, yes, but very much in tune with Orange County. She done tons of charities. Really a stand-up lady who always there to help people in needs, and she quite philanthropic in so many ways. So my girlfriend knew firsthand because she worked with her in past events and so on, and it was really wonderful because the gentleman was very, very exciting. I said, "So how'd you get here? How Orange County to this valley? It's not a natural, what I mean? It's not really a natural road." And he goes, "Well, the story goes something like this. The family, we went in vacation, the whole family, to Rome many years back in the 2010 or something. And we were having a dinner in this little place in Rome, and we asked for a bottle of wine, and they brought us this Gaia something Barbaresco. I never known the wine, and it wasn't even a big wine drinker. But when I taste the wine, I say, 'Oh my God, we need to make the wine like this. This is amazing.'" And of course, I started smiling. I say, he goes, "Why are you smiling?" I say, "Well, that's a nice, for someone who never had a wine, it was a nice way to be introduced to one of the top producers in the world and one of the best Italian wine in so many ways. If you like that kind of a, Nebbiolo-based wine, I mean, obviously Gaia, it's one of the very top, no doubt about it. People can like or not like it, but it's what it is. It's like argue DRC or no DRC. It's fantastic. You can afford it, you can pay for it, whatever. But it is fantastic. There's no doubt about that one. You can snub anything you want, but the wine is amazing. So trust me, you bring a bottle, I'll drink it. If you don't like it, it's okay. So, and he was mentioned to me about the guy. So we start talking about it. And he goes, "Yes, then I come back here. And we had this few hundred acres up here." And I told my family, he goes, we're gonna make a wine like this. So they brought it in all the Nebbiolo from Italy, and they planned it. And he goes, "Man, the first 2 years we produced it, I told the winemaker, threw this shit out. It's not worth it." So he goes, "What's going on? What's wrong?" He says, "Well, I just learned the hard lesson. Just because it's a vine, you cannot make it the same wine anywhere." So I asked, "Okay, what's our plan B?" Well, the plan B is Chardonnay and Pinot, which they do very well here. And yes, their Pinot is a very bright, nice red and black fruit. A lot of cranberry, raspberry, blackberry over notes. No overripe at all. Really elegant, refined, quite beautiful. So keep in mind that this particular winery is Irvine and Roberts. That's the name of the winery. And then he brought me a bottle of rosé made out of Pinot Noir, which was really, really beautiful. Well done. Nice notes of rose, or nice little notes of raspberry, quite supple on the palate with a great refreshing acidity. The wine was quite good, and that was a wonderful find. Walk into the non-beating path, and you walk into something with zero expectation. You walk in with a really smile on your face, and you say, "That was a wonderful afternoon." And that goes back to some of the early conversation that I have about wine. Don't be intimidated by wine. Just walk in, have fun. The worst can happen, you don't like it. I mean, that's the worst can happen. You don't like it. That's it. Okay, so you rinse your palate and you take a glass of water, and that, although I've seen a lot of people say, "I don't like the wine," but they drink the bottle. So I don't know. Maybe you're one of those, or you're not. I don't know. The reality is, you'd be surprised if you just walk in with the best intentions, and discover some new areas. I mean, I heard about South Oregon, of course, Argyle, and some of the other big name, and I work very close with a lot of the Willamette Valley producers, some really top producer. But I have to say, this is a quite beautiful wine, well made, and I enjoyed it very much. And I was saying to myself, see, maybe we should take a little more road trips and get out of our comfort zone sometime. And for your wine lover out there, always trying to go to your favorite place, make a favorite new ones. It's okay. Don't worry about it. They don't miss you. Share your love across the whole California coast and beyond. It's a long coast, so don't just stuck in San Dines, Santa Rita, which they make beautiful Pinots, by the way, Arroyo Seco, Monterey County, and so on and so on. Just go up north a little bit. It's more on a wild side, a little more rugged. And in fact, you probably don't know that one of the best cheese in the world, 2 years in a row, 19 and 20, it's the Rogue Valley Creamery, which is in that area. It's just around the corner. In fact, from the winery, we went down to the creamery, and they have beautiful cheese. It's mostly blue, but they make also cheddar. Fantastic. Really aggressive flavors, pungent, strong, long flavors that I say you cannot have more than a couple piece of this because it's just too much. It's amazing flavors, and it fulfills almost every single senses goes cuckoo. I mean, you're rolling your brains with flavor. Your walnuts just keep on racking, and you're say, I'm glad I came. I hope you take some notes and go up there and have some fun. Remember, it's Irvine and Roberts Winery, the other wonderful place to stay and hanging around the Down Gazelle. Stop over to the Belcampo Ranch, and you see some wonderful gardening, some beautiful fruit during the seasons, and they have the whole experience they can line up for you. More importantly, just the joy of to see how many wonderful things we do. And now with this shutdown, maybe it's time for us to adventure out a little bit in our own backyard and sustain, help, support our local producers, and make sure that when you go there, be gentle, be wonderful. These people really trying to produce the best they can, and they do a really fantastic job. So my suggestion to all of you, don't be a magazine when you go drink wine. Don't score it. This is just amateur hours. Enjoy it. You know what I mean? These people get paid to tell you that that's 92, 91, 82, 83. You are paying for it. So the best you can do is just enjoy it. And so that's my contribution to you and your vacation with your friends and family. Just go. There's many wonderful places to go to, visit. We'll explore some new ones and make sure that at the end of the day, you come home with some new and found love. This weekend, I'm going to feature wine from the Alto Adige, which is in Italy, Güne Verteliner, which is, I believe, is a beautiful white. I enjoy it tremendously. Also, we're going to focus for the same area, the Venagazzu wonderful red blend, which is most close to Bordeaux in style. And then we're going down to the Marche region and drink one of the most supple and exciting Montepulciano by Marcella. It's just wonderful stuff. That's what I love about wine: the unique, the diversity, the ever changing all the time excitement. Whether it's a little wine or big wine, or more important, special wine, or just something that we can enjoy and knock the glass with each other and say, hey, you know what? It's August. Life is good. Why don't we enjoy? Ciao, arrivederci.